Sneakers and Fur Coats, the number one podcast brought to you by Bo Skaggs, Jody P, and Bo Skaggs. It's wonderful. Sneakers and fur coats, 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 sneakers and fur coats. We got Jody P, sneakers and fur coats. They call me Bo Skaggs, sneakers and fur coats, sneakers and fur coats, sneakers and fur coats, sneakers and fur coats, sneakers and fur coats. True hip-hop, health, wealth, the Bible, conspiracies and everything else. We got sneakers and fur coats, sneakers and fur coats. Jody P, Bo Skaggs, sneakers and fur coats.
It's your boy Bo Skaggs, and you are now listening to the number one podcast on the internet, Sneakers and Fur Coats, with the number one host on the internet, your girl, my girl. Make some noise for Jody P.
Hey everybody, it's Jody P. Thank you, Bo Skaggs, for that lovely intro that I love so much. Welcome to Sneakers and Fur Coats, everybody, where we don't tiptoe around topics. Yes, we do pop culture. We do fun stuff too, but we also don't do politically correct. We call it like we see it, and there are no off-limits questions.
Facts.
So last week we covered Diddy and Cassie, and although it was kind of intense, it's still,
I don't really care too much about like Diddy's trial, and I mean the nigga did it. Like I don't.
I know you don't care.
Like I don't really
care.
care. Like I don't care about.
I do.
I
care.
do not
I know
care
you
about
don't.
Diddy. Let's just be clear. I don't care about Diddy. I don't care too much for niggas from Harlem. Like I don't. Like, it's not like really a thing. I'm from
Let's
Queens.
not get
like,
into that.
I don't really
Let's not get
care
into
too much for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Well, we know how you feel about them, and we know how they feel about you too. So let's not go there. But tonight, buckle up for a real conversation without the usual cliches on this topic, because we don't do fake here. We're going to be diving into the always provocative, but usually overly obsessed over and definitely overdone subject of racism and what it's come to mean in our country. But why not? Let's discuss.
Right.
We're going to just start the discussion tonight on the scowling fictional bronze statue in Times Square. Now, what I mean by fictional is this is not a real person. This is just an imagined character. What do you think about it, Bo Skaggs?
I think it's stupid. Honestly, I think it's stupid. I think they put a fat black broad from the Bronx from 4B up there. She's never done anything but, get on welfare and, trick the system out of a few dollars and got 4 baby daddies and 5 different kids. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
and I don't think it's nothing special about her. I think it's stupid. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I just think it's like it's just a representation of the degradation of our society and the demoralization of our society when, statues used to be of, the founder of the country, the president that abolished slavery,
Right.
Frederick Douglass got chopped down during COVID, along with George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. He was a slave that was freed and taught himself to read. And I mean, he's a very brilliant man. He was a brilliant leader and very inspirational character. They chopped him down and they put this person up, this person that doesn't even exist. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how Thomas Sowell says, like, it's based upon ideology instead of actual accomplishments, which, goes right into the subject of, everybody wins. Everybody gets a trophy.
Everybody doesn't win.
Right. But
They're
it's like
losers and they're winners.
that's a fact. And
You
there's
don't get
only
a trophy
there's
for
only
just
one
showing
winner.
up.
Right.
ridiculous.
Right, exactly. And this is what is happening to our generation of youth that's coming up right now, that they are being taught that feelings are more important than facts.
That it's okay to be weak.
Right. And it's okay to be weak. And if you cry, you get attention. And if you cry, you can make a video and create a channel and, create a nonprofit and, everyone's going to cry with you. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
It's unrealistic.
it's actually realistic. It's not unrealistic because it's happening every day.
I mean, just to think, to have that type of, thought process, like, it's just, I don't know. I don't come from that. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
Like,
You do not
I don't come from that.
Well, the generation of New York that you grew up in is not what it's about.
My son's not going to be like that. Shout out to Tamus Jones. He's not going to be like that.
Hey, Tamus Jones. He's a superstar.
Yeah, he ain't going to be like that. You got to raise your kids a certain kind of way. That's just.
That's true. That is very true. But unfortunately, a couple entire generations of children in New York City were raised on Hot 97, and they are part of the propaganda machine. They really are. They really are. Don't even get me started on, I watched the progression. I watched the progression of how they changed their lingo and changed their viewpoints on everything. This is just one example. I remember, back when I was the club promoter, back in, let's say, the very early 2000s, like right before 9/11, like 2001. No homo was in every paragraph. If you were hanging around with, black males in Brooklyn or uptown, no homo was in every paragraph. You know what I mean? It was very common to say faggot, right or wrong. It was just a common terminology. And then all of a sudden, Hot 97 was like, well, to each his own. They first started out with that. And then they were like, oh, well, who are we to judge? It's not what I do, but who am I to judge? And they started with that lingo. And that was never once uttered out of the mouth of a black straight male in New York City.
Right. You couldn't come to my neighborhood if you was gay. Straight up and down. If you tried to slide through Hollis as a homosexual, niggas would beat you down.
Right. And cut to today.
Call it what you want.
And all the kids in the hood are gay.
Call it what you want. You come through
Hollis.
Know what I mean? You come through Hollis, transgender or whatever.
Oh, man.
They'd beat you down. You know what I mean? It's a different climate when I was growing up. You know what I'm saying? But
right. It was different. It was different everywhere.
But yeah.
It's different everywhere. Not just in your world and my world. But I was in New York City when you were growing up in New York City. So,
yeah.
Right. I was there.
You know what it is? It's that statue that make you have this conversation. This is how ridiculous the statue is. Because now once you mention the fictional statue in Times Square, you got to have this whole story about this whole dialogue about how do we even get there?
Right.
How do we even get to them putting this stupid statue up? And where did it start? Did it start with making everybody weak and thinking that this, what does this thing symbolize?
It's not just making everyone weak. They made everyone angry. They made everyone feel like a victim.
But my thing is this. What are they trying to symbolize with this statue in Times Square?
Maybe they don't know. I personally feel like it was just to create more division. More racial division. Because it immediately evokes feeling of anger in people when they see it. Because here's an angry person. It's 20 feet tall. It's a monster, right? And it includes so many stereotypes inside of it, right?
Right.
It's an angry black woman. It's a strong black woman. It's a she don't need no man woman, right? And
she's obese.
It's all these issues that they are always forcing down our throats in the media. You know what I mean? And I just feel like it's part of the propaganda machine because the whole propaganda machine is, they want to divide and conquer and they want to create racial division. And I have watched this for a very long time. I just feel like, okay, well, during the Obama administration is when they passed a law. It was HR, I forget what number it was, HR 875 or something, where they are now legally allowed to disseminate propaganda in the media to the American public. Now, they were allowed to do it before, but only outside of the country. They were not allowed to legally broadcast propaganda.
So now it's okay for them to tell us lies here.
Correct. And
I mean, I always thought that, even when I didn't pay attention, I always felt like we were being lied to, right? I even when I didn't pay attention as much as I do now, right? I couldn't understand. I didn't understand why they would tell us the truth when they didn't have to, right?
meaning what?
Meaning, like, you got all this power, right? You can feed us any story you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's holding you accountable for telling us the truth?
Right.
So I never really believed anything. I mean, I guess that could be the New York in me too, that we just
Right. You don't
don't
trust.
believe anything. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I don't. You have
And
to
black
really,
people don't trust either. They've historically not trust the media and not trust the medical establishment for good reason.
Yeah.
I would say for good reason.
Yeah.
And yeah, but and being from New York, of course, that intensifies it, that magnifies it like 1,000%.
Right.
But yeah, it became legal back in, I don't know, was it 2015 or I forget what year it was. No, it was like, no. I want to say it was 2007. I take that back. I'd have to look it up, but for sure it was during, I believe it was his first administration.
Obama.
Yes,
Right.
Obama. And you can see the rapid decline since his administration in race relations. It started there. It started the rapid decline because up until that point, things were more copacetic than they'd ever been between the races in our country.
Right.
I mean, you can say what you want, you can make stuff up if you want, but largely things were good. You know what I mean? Like, and that's when they started pushing that new racial definition, like black people can't be racist. And racism just means that you can only be racist if you're in a position of power, and only white people are in a position of power, which is total BS. Because, okay, I can speak from my experience. Like, I've worked in black industries since I moved to New York City in 1994. You know what I mean? I worked in the black music business, and I know that's not politically correct to call it the black music business, but that's what we called it. That's what it was called forever and ever. You know what it's called now, I don't know what they call it now because I'm not even there anymore, but it was the black music business. And I helped produce the first, what do they call it now? It's the Black American Film Festival, the ABFF. ABFF? Yeah, with Jeff Friday. So, I mean, I was in those circles, and I can tell you that being white did not benefit me at all. I was in music videos. I was working on the administrative side. I was working on the production side of things as well. And it did not help me. It didn't help me at all. Like, if it was me or a black girl going for a position at BET, of course the black girl's going to get it. You know what I mean? Of course, if it's me going to Def Jam for a position, me or a black girl, the black girl's going to get it. That's just the way it is. And I'm not crying about it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to do something where there's a lot more black people in positions of power. And that's the way it is. So to say that only white people are in positions of power is just a complete fallacy. Because there are Diddy's in the world. I mean, Diddy is now collapsing, but not because he's black, because he is
Disgusting.
a fraud, and he's a monster. I mean,
Right.
he's gross. It's not because he's black, though.
Right.
People celebrated his blackness. I mean, he put so many black things on the map. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
people loved and adored him around the world.
I mean, far as I'm concerned, I mean, I haven't dealt with too much like racism, and I mean, I think black people can be racist. I mean, like, try going down south to some places. I mean,
Okay, but see, according to the new definition of racism,
that black people
can't be racist
because racism is
you have to be in a position of power. But see, when I was growing up,
I don't think you need to be in a position of power. I feel like this: if you
Because
if you felt like somebody, look, if you felt like somebody was being racist towards you, right? You to be racist towards them. So you can still be,
Right.
this is what I'm saying. You can still be racist without being in a position of power.
Right.
So if
I
you,
mean, first
if
of
you
all,
just, if you can be racist without being in a position of power.
you could be in a position of power by just having 10 people with you and you have one person of the other race. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it's just stupid. Like, what they're saying is it's, based on so-called institutionalized racism.
Well,
because of that, Black people will never be able to be racist and only white people are racist. And further to that, they're inherently racist. They're born racist and they're literal monsters.
Well, I'll tell you this. Me growing up in Hollis, Queens, we did not have a lot of white people there. And I don't know if I was, honestly, I don't know if I was like taught this or this is just the way that I grew up, right? That I just assumed that white people did not like us, right? I just assumed that. I didn't know any white people. I didn't have any white friends. The only white people I saw were the teachers at my school, right? And I figured they had to like us because they worked there, right? And I didn't even think they liked us. They was just a job. They come, punch the clock, teach us, and leave, right? So I just assumed that white people didn't like us. And then when I say us, I mean Black people. So then when I started to like go out, like, like with my uncle, like doing music and going to like shows and like tours, it'll be a lot of white people there, and they loved them, they loved me. And then I chalked it up to, they're celebrities, and maybe, celebrities, they do also get treated different. And, but when I was in positions where, in places where I wasn't as popular as I was in other places, and I had to deal with white people, I never dealt with racism. Like right now, the only people that I deal with mostly on a day-to-day basis is white people, right? I'm currently involved in a white industry, which what people would say is a white industry. I guess the steel industry will be a white industry. And the side of it that I'm on, I'm not inside the...
You're not a blue-collar worker.
Yeah, I'm not inside the place making the steel. You know what I'm saying? I'm on the other side of it, right?
Right,
So,
you're a sales executive.
So I'm on the other side of it, right? So I'm in a predominantly white situation. But I don't deal with racism at all. So I don't get it. Now,
if anything, you're loved because
Right.
America loves Black people.
Right.
America adores Black people. All the white kids want to be Black. They want to talk like Black because Black people are cool.
Right.
Black people are
Especially
cool.
me. I'm the
and they're
coolest
very
one.
talented in a lot of ways. They're very talented in the arts. It's just the way it is, you
Right.
know? And so, yeah, I mean, when I was growing up, racist meant you don't like people that are another race,
Right.
and you think you're better than them.
Right. Right.
And that's common sense. So now it's like you have this whole politically correct movement, and they want to control your words, right? Okay, it used to be you'd have all different titles for Black people. Each decade, it's like a new title. Now it's people of color, right? To say colored, you're racist. That's what they used to say in the 60s?
Right.
And that was a socially acceptable terminology. Now it's people of color. And if you say colored, you're a racist, but it's the same meaning. What is so wrong about saying colored when you say people of color? Isn't it the same thing?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I wouldn't think that only Black people are people of color, though. That would be a broad thing to me.
Okay, well, then Latino people would also have been colored.
I would assume that too.
Right, exactly.
I would assume Latinos,
right?
and maybe
Indians, some darker Indians. Yeah, of course,
Indians.
of course. But
I mean,
so
a couple
it's
of
like
Asian people, some darker
right,
Asians. You know what I'm
absolutely,
saying?
like Indonesians or something. Right. So the point is, they want to control our words, but ultimately, they want to control your thoughts, and they can't do that because if someone's racist towards me, I want to know it. I don't want you to cover it up and say all the right words and not say the wrong words because they're politically incorrect. I'd like to know. I want to face my enemy. I want to know who my enemies are. And furthermore, why does anyone care who doesn't like them? You know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, white racist people are the most marginalized people in our society right now. They are the most uncool. They are the most unaccepted and persecuted people. Everybody hates them. Everybody, right? White people, black people, everyone hates them. No one wants to be associated with them. They can't get jobs. No, you know what I'm saying? So like what are they talking about? They're always talking about this nameless, faceless group of white racists. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You know what it is? Because the government, they got to put it on. It got to be some kind of way to divide us, right?
It's part of the propaganda.
So people don't understand, like, if you had, like, we're not going to talk about the foreigners, right? Not the foreigners, not the people that came to America that ain't supposed to be here. Talking about the Americans, the ones that don't need passports or green cards or any of that kind of stuff, right? Those Americans.
Us.
The black ones and the white ones.
Right, all of us. Yes.
They want us at each other's neck.
Absolutely.
Right?
1,000%.
Because if we are not at but they start to divide us with the color, then they divide us with, like, the political things.
Identity politics, yes. You're gay, you're straight, you're transgender, you're binary, you're non-binary,
Right.
you're a pansexual.
I mean, look,
you're black, you're Asian, you're white, you're lesbian, you're a woman.
I even
you're
go
a
as
man.
far as saying this. Even the gays, the pansexuals, and all of those things, right? They so busy trying to fight for rights, right? But they don't know that the images that they put of them up are so weird that it alienates them from people.
Right, but again,
so listen, let me finish my statement, right? If they didn't put them up, like, make them look so weird, like they not normal people, right? I'm not for it or nothing. I'm just showing you how they divide everything, right? So they take them, they give them images, make them look super weird, get them acting weird, and all, everybody's not the same. Everybody's not like yelling, we are, weird.
Right.
So, but they put those images so that makes us go, oh, we don't want to deal with none of that. We don't want to be around none of that, right? We don't want to be next to that. It's another way to just divide everyone. They divide these people from these people. Because if everyone was together on one accord, they wouldn't be able to do half the things that they do.
100%. And that is the whole object. That's the whole object. They want to divide and conquer because they're afraid of us because we have the numbers and they do not.
Yes.
They do not.
The citizens have the numbers.
Right. That's correct.
The
They're
citizens,
a very
the people.
small group of people.
Yeah, they're a small group. We're
right.
a large
the
group.
Illuminati of the world are a very small group of. They're
Right.
like 8,000 people. I heard.
Right.
We're billions.
So imagine,
Think about it.
like, so people are like, I hate Trump and I hate Joe Biden and I hate this person, right? But it's just a split, right? It's just a way to divide people. It's just like
but
a
I don't
game.
think we can even put Trump and Joe Biden as opposites.
I'm just
You know what I'm
Democrats
saying?
and Republicans.
Okay.
Just
so let's
Democrats
leave Trump
and
because
Republicans.
he's an anomaly. Let's just
Just
say Democrats and
Democrats
Republicans. Right? Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I get
Democrats
what you're saying.
and Republicans.
Yeah. Right.
Because if Joe Biden was a Republican, they would hate him too, right?
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter who's there.
Yeah.
It's just Democrats and Republicans. If Trump was a Democrat, the Republicans wouldn't like him.
However,
It's just
Trump's a
how it
little
is.
different because even the Republicans hate Trump
It's just how it is.
because Trump is not part of the system.
Right, he's not part of the fold, but it's
He's
still,
not part of the system. He's coming against all of them. He's upsetting.
he's
the
upsetting
table.
a lot of people, but that doesn't even matter. It's just the fact that they want to, divide everyone from the
Right.
smallest things to, like, to the hugest things. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Well, first of all, they're promoting abortions. They want to kill as much of us as possible there. Then they have all these chemicals in the food. It's not even food anymore. They want to kill the kids. They want to kill everybody. Then they have all the women having abortions, not getting married. They don't believe in marriage. They want to be strong women. They want to be career women. Career is like the most important thing in the world. Men, they're making them all gay so that we can't reproduce. They're also making them impotent. All these, chemicals in the foods cause all of these, problems with fertility in men and women. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a death cult and they want to control us. And ultimately, they want to reduce the population
right.
extraordinarily, like in a large amount. But, of course, that's a conspiracy theory. You may or may not believe it. I do.
And
but
that, and to be straight up, That don't have anything to do with race. They want to kill the white people and they want to kill the black people. They want to kill everyone.
That is correct. It is them against us. It is not us against us.
Right.
It is not us against us. And I could say prior to the propaganda campaign, I used to watch this because, I moved to New York City and I loved New York City. I moved there in 1994 and I was passionate about New York many years before I moved there. And I just knew if I could get to New York, everything would be beautiful. From when I was 5 years old, I used to say, when I get big, I'm moving to New York. Like, I don't know who told me that. You know what I mean? Like, where that came from. But everyone was like, New York? You're moving to New York? Like, I didn't want to move to Hollywood. I didn't want to, I wanted to move to New York City. And, I used to love New York. I loved the eccentricity of it all. I loved all the different types of people. I loved that you could go to the Village and see, 7-foot tall drag queens. You know what I mean? I loved that they could just.
You just saw one of those in Walmart today.
Right. Oh yeah. Ew. Yeah. But I mean, I love that you could be whoever you want. Not that I support them and what they stand for, but I loved that you could come to New York City and be whoever you want and whatever you want. I loved all the ethnic neighborhoods. I loved all the racially divided neighborhoods. I love that everyone was like, this is my place. These are our blocks. You know what I mean? I thought that was what made New York, New York. And New York was a place where, yeah, you had it was an anything goes city. We had, of course, gay people, but it was every man for himself, make it happen, don't give a crap mentality. And it was don't ask, don't tell, keep it to yourself. That's your sin. This is my sin. We don't discuss it. Nobody cares. Mind your business, right? And now it's like, cut to today and they're forcing this agenda down everyone's throats. You must embrace it. You must love it. You must support it. If you don't vocally support it, then you're the enemy. You know what I mean? Like, right. And just like how they did with June 2nd, what was that? The Black Lives Matter thing when that first came out, you had to put up a black square. You were a racist. I don't need to put up a black square. I know I'm not racist. I don't need to apologize to anybody. I know most of the people I've loved most in my life are black people. Right. Literally.
I never got behind the Black Lives Matter, John. I always felt like it was weird.
You knew it was a scam. And
I never got behind that.
Anything where you have corporations behind it and every corporation has a BLM symbol on their website when you go to, it's fake.
Yeah.
It's fake.
I never got behind that. Especially when like all the Black Lives Matter protesters were white. I was like, this is crazy.
Right. They're all white.
They're
all white.
I can't get behind that.
Right.
And I don't have to support nothing I don't want to. Like, I don't have to support gays.
Right.
I don't have to support the LGBT community. You don't have to believe in it.
No.
I don't have to have a rainbow flag. I don't got to do none of that. I don't got to like it.
Right.
I don't have to like it.
You do not, because
you can
this is
be gay.
America.
I don't have to like you either. I don't have to like you around me. I don't have to want you around me.
Right.
I don't have to be okay with what you're doing.
That's correct.
You can do whatever you want to do, but I don't got to be okay with it.
That's correct.
Like if you're a man, I don't have to call you a woman. I don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? You can't make me be delusional and be like, oh, hey, ma'am. No. Yo, what's up, my nigga? Why you got on the skirt? You know what I'm saying? Why you got on the skirt, my nigga? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can say that. You know what I'm saying? I can say that.
Right.
Because I can say what I want to say and I can have my own point of views. This is America. I can have my own point of views.
First Amendment.
I can feel how I want to feel. I don't have to like what you like. I don't have to be who you are. I don't have to be involved.
That's right.
And I can still have my opinion. Guess what? From right here.
Right.
This is why people come to America.
Right. That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. No, and that's what I'm saying. Like I've been watching this happen. I watched it and I noticed personally, I had my finger on this pulse because like I said, I love New York City. I love what it stood for. I love that it was every man for himself, make it happen, don't give a F. And it was every man for himself. It wasn't groups.
Right.
It wasn't, we're in this together. Let's go protest. Right. No, it's none of that. That's like so ridiculous. It's so not real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when I grew up, we didn't protest anything. What we did was we tried to get to the corner first in the morning. That was the only thing we protest. We ran to the corner first in the morning so we can get our dollars and then leave. You know what I'm saying? So that's so.
You wanted to be the best.
Yeah, we wanted to run and get our money first and go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
But we it's the way of the world is today is just like not.
Right, but this is what I'm saying. Like, I watched all this happen, and it all really shifted after 9/11. It really did. And it became this, remember their first thing, don't ask, don't, no, it was, if you see something, say something. You know, like.
That motto will get you shot in New York.
I see something, say something. And they always had this ad up with a briefcase on the subway. Meanwhile, 9/11 was an inside job.
Yeah.
Even Trump said 9/11 is an inside job. So don't even tell me. I don't even want to hear about it. I've heard far too much evidence. We know it was not them.
I'm gonna just say this to like random like New Yorkers or people that are from out of town. And you just like on the train and like you listening to our podcast right now and you like, I see something, say something, like don't do it. That just will get you shot.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. If you see something, act like you
mind
didn't
your
see
business.
It. Act like you didn't see it.
Act like you.
If you see something, act like you didn't see it.
Yes, and take it to the grave.
And that's how it goes where I'm from.
Yeah, but the whole vibe changed. It was if you see something, say something, and we're in this together. And, and it became very conformist. Like the days of seeing a 7-foot tall drag queen in full face makeup at 2 p.m. without paparazzi around them, without a Coca-Cola float behind them were officially over. You know what I'm saying? Like the days where everyone was different and weird, some were not weird, some were cool, some were Wall Street, some were regular, some were MTA workers. Every type of person lived in NYC, and all of a sudden everyone was conforming. It all happened in conjunction with gentrification. And then you had all the people in Williamsburg. You would know they were from Williamsburg. They all looked like little rats. They looked like all looked exactly the same. You know what I mean? Like all these little like white rats running around. And then like, you just knew it was just this whole vibe of this every man for himself, make it happen mentality was just slowly degrading and disintegrating into nothing. And then they came with the whole, Hot 97 propaganda. And then, they were just coming at the American public from all sides. But I can only speak to the New York side because I was there watching it. Right. But I saw it all happen. And then came the Obama campaign where they now allow the propaganda, and you can see it, and everything is propaganda now. Like you don't even know what you're watching on the news is real. You don't even know if it was completely staged.
That's exactly why I don't watch the news anymore.
I don't watch it whatsoever. None of it.
I used to watch it sometime. I used to, sometimes I do turn on the news sometimes, but I don't watch it. I don't watch it for information. You know what I watch it for? Because I'm bored and I just want something to be on there.
Yeah, no, I can't watch it because I get enraged, not because of the topics, but because they're lying, and I can see that they're lying, and it is enraging, and I just don't. And what information what am I taking away from? What is there anything valuable on the news? No.
Maybe somebody gets shot.
Maybe the weather.
McKees Rocks. I might want to see that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Maybe you want to know if like someone. I don't know. I don't want to watch it. I have no use for it at all.
I don't normally watch it, but
But you're right. It's divide and conquer. But what I was getting at is prior to this propaganda being released to the American public, I used to watch the news back then. This is before I was awake, before I knew what was going on in the world. And before that, I would watch the news and I would think, they'd always have these racial things on the news. And I would think, it's just not like that on the streets of New York. It's not real. This is not real because if you're nice to somebody, somebody's going to be nice to you. It doesn't matter what their race is. You know what I'm saying? Like there are good and bad and fat and skinny and young and old people in every single race, ethnic and socioeconomic background around the world. People are all the same. You know what I'm saying? Deep down, There are good-hearted people and bad-hearted people. And if you're kind, it goes a long way. You know, if you show love to somebody, they're going to show love back. That's just the way people are. We're built that way.
Right.
We respond to love. So I used to watch it on the news and think, this is just not true. And I realized it wasn't true. I realized then that they were lying. However, the propaganda machine is so in full effect now with social media, and it's like in everybody's face all day, every day. It's come to the point where they have swayed public opinion so much because they're in social media. They're in all the threads. They have all these bots on there pretending to have a certain viewpoint,
Right.
whether it's in favor of trannies or, you know, something to divide people racially, which is one of the biggest propaganda scams, the biggest of all. Whatever it is, they have all these bots saying very smart things, very, well thought out things. And they're supporting a viewpoint that is not real.
Well, let me ask you this.
And enough people see it, they start to believe it's real, and then they start to rationalize.
All right, let me ask you this. With that being said, what's the percentage of people do you think is racist still left in America? Like, do you think there's a lot of? I know they try to show us like racist Karens and all kind of things like that on social media, but like, how many like really truthfully racist people do you think are like left in the world? You think it's a lot? I mean, in America.
I mean, I feel like they have exacerbated and brought racism back to a very strong degree because they're making racism, they're splitting hairs to find the racism in everything, and it's not there. And now they're creating it because so they're coming against white people who weren't racist, and now they feel racist. Now they're like, I can't stand black people.
Right. Now, do you think white people are more racist than black people?
Absolutely not.
So
I mean, in my
Do
experience,
you think black people are more racist?
I just think black people are more hostile towards white people. And I don't know. I'll say this. It was not that way before. But I would have to say, I don't know. Maybe it was equal before, but it was still very subtle and it was not strong. And, I mean, I'll say this. I have had black friends my whole life. So they speak freely around me. But I'm white, so white people speak freely around me as well. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I would definitely say black people are more racist, but maybe what it is they're more hostile. Let's not even use the word racist because they are changing the definition over and over and over again. Let's not even use that word because what does it even mean? But I would say that black people now are definitely more hostile and prejudicial towards white people than the other way around.
Now me growing up, like I said, we thought that white people didn't like us, right? But we never discussed white people, right? So we weren't racist. We never discussed them. We never thought about them. We never cared about them. It was never on our radar, right? Because we didn't live around white people, right? So we didn't wait. The white people that we didn't like, you know who they were? Were cops, right? We didn't like the white police, right? And those were the ones that we considered to be racist.
But does anybody like NYPD?
But
any of them, black or white,
but
Asian,
these were the ones,
black, white, Puerto Rican, or Haitian. I don't like any of the NYPD personally.
So we might have had one black undercover cop in the hood. The rest of them are white. And we all assumed that they were all racist, right? So those was our racist white people that we did not like were the undercover NYPD. Right? And that's where it stopped at. That's where it went, and that's where it stopped at. We didn't know any other white people. You know what I'm saying? Sergeant Hall, you know what I'm saying, running down on you, trying to find crack on you, and he don't find it, and he still lock you up. You consider him racist. Because he looked for some, he didn't find it, but he still took you to jail. It's racist.
Or it could be corrupt policing.
Yeah, just
because NYC are corrupt and they've been corrupt forever and ever.
So
it could have been the other. It could have also been that.
So I would say that my experience that white people are more racist than black people, because the ones that I would associate racism with were undercover police officers.
So those are the only white people you really knew.
Yes. And all of them were racist. Now, sometimes they did let me go.
What about the cop that let you go a couple of times? Those stories that you told me.
That's like one of like 50. Right?
Okay, but what were you doing? Nothing.
Nothing.
But you sold cracks.
But at that present moment, I wasn't doing anything.
That moment in time. So they were profiling.
I was just standing in front of a store a few times.
You were loitering in front of a store with your jeans down around your thighs.
That's a little racist.
No, it's true. It's a fact. Don't put a name on it. Was it true? Was it true or not?
No, first of all, we don't loiter. We don't even know what that means.
Forget loiter.
Right, so
were your pants around your thighs?
No.
Yes, they were.
I just told you no, they weren't.
Yes, they were.
I just told you no, they weren't.
I don't believe you.
Well, if you don't want to believe a black man while he's talking to you, then don't. If you don't want to, you really
are going to sit here and tell me that your jeans were not around your thighs.
You don't want to believe a strong African American black man, then don't. Then don't. What can I say?
Okay, let's move on. Moving on.
What can I say, Jody P? I mean, like, hey, look. At some point, you got to believe me.
Well,
yeah, but I mean, truthfully speaking, it was one time I was in Phoenix, Arizona, and I did walk in the store, and the white man was a bit racist. Now, I did have my pants sagging. In his defense, I did look like I might have wanted to rob the place, right? But that wasn't the type of time I was on. He shouldn't have just been automatically racist to me. I had money. He should have gave me the chance. He never seen me before. He never met me. I don't even speak like the guys from Arizona. Totally different accent. So you had to know I'm not one from there. You know what I mean? And that was like one of the times where I really felt like racism from an individual that wasn't a cop. And and that was like one time, you know what I'm saying? But like that was, but looking back in hindsight, I did look like, someone you would be standoffish to. Like my pants were sagging. I had like maybe like 16 chains on and, like a big t-shirt and, you know what I'm saying? So maybe I did look like somebody that robbed him before, but it wasn't me. So this is what I'm saying. He didn't give me the opportunity to be myself. He just assumed that I was,
Right. I mean, while I do believe in racial profiling, racial and ethnic profiling, and I'll tell you why, I am totally against it in the United States with the police. I do not think it's acceptable, no matter what somebody looks like, to go up and stop and frisk them. I do not. I know somebody who is a totally upstanding citizen in every way, who's a great guy, great father, uptown. He got stopped and frisked for no reason at all, and they found a brass knuckles in his car because he's like a martial arts person. They took him to jail. They stopped him for no reason. They searched his trunk. And I think it's disgusting what they do. I think it's disgusting. I think they are largely corrupt in New York. They make me sick. And however, profiling is something that human beings do all day, every day. And it is literally unconscious. It's not even a conscious thing that we do. Like, okay, they asked El Al Airlines in Israel, how is it that you are, you're in the hot seat of terrorism over here and you have never once had a terrorist attack on your planes? And they said, very simple, we profile. If someone has a turban on or they're shifty or they have the characteristics of someone that's from a country that wants to bomb that, right.
If you look suicide bombers.
They have a backpack on and a burqa and,
we need to see you, bro. Abdul, come here.
Hats off.
Muhammad,
scarves,
come here.
Bee suits off. We need to see you.
Muhammad, come here.
We need to see you.
What's your name, Muhammad? Come here, Muhammad. I mean, look, it's only right, man. I mean,
it's only right. And
especially if it's like airline situation and things like that. I mean, Yeah. I mean, you gotta protect, you gotta be, I mean, far as you running down on somebody in the streets, you know what I'm saying? Like the cops, I mean, I think that's weird. I mean, I've had police, that's for another show, the corrupt police.
Okay, yeah, we
We'll
can do a whole
we'll
show
save
on that for
for
sure.
another
We can
show.
do, and I'm not saying every single NYPD is a dirtbag because
93% of them are.
yes, that's a fact.
And then the
100%
7%,
fact.
the 7% that are not, they're on their way to be.
Or they're on their way to retire, or they
They're all
just lay
dirtbags.
low and they don't speak up because they're outnumbered and they know that
99
nothing would happen.
99% of New York City police officers are disgusting.
They are. They disgust me.
93% of them are corrupt.
Yeah.
99% of them are disgusting. Even the ones that are not corrupt, those are still. I've had a cop pull me over, right? Pop my trunk, take several bags of marijuana out of my trunk, and then take several $100s from my armrest. I had no license. My license was suspended. You know what they did? They took my weed. They took some of my weed. They took some of my money, gave me my keys back, and let me roll. Right? Now, you would be, ecstatic. Thank you. They didn't take me to jail. Right? But what they did was very, very corrupt.
Yes,
they
disgusting.
took my drugs, took my money, and
Yeah.
then gave me my keys back and let me go about my business.
Yeah.
Because it was a tax. It's like, all right, we're going to let you go, but here's the taxing
Yep.
you.
Yep.
And would I rather go into jail? No. But,
But they're criminals too.
Yeah.
They're criminals too. They belong in jail.
Yeah.
They belong in jail worse than you belonged in jail because they're supposed to be upholding the law and they're frauds. Yeah, they're gross.
So before we go, right, I just want to ask you this. Is America racist? Do you think America is racist?
I mean, I just think that's such a broad generalization. I don't think that's a yes or no answer. And I think we need to delve in what is racist because there are just so many definitions of it. But I do think that
with the regular old school definition of what we know racism to be. Not this twinkle toe meaning that they gave with the fairy meaning that they made now. What we know racism to be as what we grew up with, do you think America is racist?
Well, I'll say this. I believe America is more racist now than it was 15 years ago.
But what about back when it was actually slaves?
15 years ago, I feel like we were at a real peak of cohesiveness and people getting past, differences and learning to embrace each other.
I mean, I think that's all it is. I think people need to give each other a chance, man. I mean,
they always did, though. That's the thing. I really feel like people had progressed so far and there was a lot of love. People had a lot of love for each other and there was so much, the hatred was so diminished.
Yeah,
and then
you just got to give people a chance.
It's been it's like there's this resurgence, but it's all on purpose. It's all on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Like you have to remember every single thing that we hear or don't hear is by design.
Right.
They want you to hear about all the black people that were killed by cops or killed, right, by white people.
Right.
But the numbers don't support that. Far more white people are killed by cops, but you'll never, ever, ever hear any of those stories.
I mean, that makes sense because a white person don't back down from the police. We do.
Right. Well, but the point is, or it could be any number of reasons. It could be they're not scared of the white people. It could be they're like, oh, well, we don't want no one cares if the white people die. You know what I'm saying? Like this is never going to be on the news.
The reason why the black cops shoot us is because they're afraid. I mean, the white cops shoot us because they're afraid. I believe it's because they're afraid.
Well, because they think you're armed and you're going to shoot them first.
I just think they soft. That's all. They're afraid. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, a lot of them are. A lot of them are, as we know, especially in New York, they got beat up and they didn't get any girls. And so they hate everyone, especially people cuter than them, sexier than them, richer than them. And they,
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
Well.
It's who they are. That's their MO. Sorry, guys.
Well, this was you know.
This was enlightening. We'll have to revisit this another day because there's just so much more to talk about. We could just go
there's
on
so much
forever
to
and ever
unpack
about
with
it.
this
I
right
mean, I have
here.
so many other things I wanted to say. There's just no time. But are we going to finish this with a song tonight or no? No song of the night?
No song. We'll get. I got it. You know what? I got a new album out. It's called M633. If you haven't heard it, you should probably go check it out.
Definitely check it
I'm about to
out.
be dropping a mixtape soon. Don't have a name for that yet, but I still got the album Revival. That's out too. Videos coming
The
soon.
mixtape is just everything. It's
Yeah, we got a lot of things
fire.
coming. So get ready. This summer is going to be really, really cracking.
Can't wait.
Yeah, so I'm Bo Skaggs. That's
I'm
Jody
Jody
P,
P.
the number one host on the internet. This is Sneakers and Fur Coats
Fur
podcast.
Coats.
Thanks for listening. We're out.
Peace.